A lot of people asking me, why do you hate Jon Jones? I don't hate Jon Jones. I've been covering Jon Jones since his UFC debut. We've had many chats, some on the record, some off the record. I just have to keep it real and tell you about, how I think things are going down here. And it's not great. Not happy about it. Like I said yesterday, a mockery has been made of the sport, of the belt. The most important thing in this sport is the belt. The most important thing to the UFC is the belt. That's what everything gears towards. And they have told us they hate when people vacate the title or don't want to defend the title. Well, that's what's happening right now. So tell me where I've been unfair. Tell me where I've lied. Tell me where I've been biased. I saw some people saying yesterday, like, oh, he just defended the title. All right. Are we going to wait till November to strip him? The fight that they want to book is for November. It's for MSG.
Helwani claims that Jon Jones is facing a ticking clock. The UFC has reportedly set an internal deadline, and if Jones doesn't commit to a title defense soon, the organization is ready to take the belt away from him.
Of course, the top choice is we want to see Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. It's the number one fight that the UFC could put on right now. The most interesting and high-profile fight. No one feels otherwise. No one. Not a soul. Everyone wants to see that fight. Maybe for you, it's number 2 behind Ilya and Islam, which we're not getting either. Or Kayla Amanda, which we are hopefully getting. But there are a few bigger fights, and Dana White himself has said it's the biggest fight in the heavyweight division.
And from the current signs, that internal deadline seems to be fast approaching. Helwani didn't mince words. He echoed what many in the MMA community have been thinking. Jon Jones isn't just avoiding a fight with Tom Aspinall, he's also damaging the UFC's image. Even more, what was once the most intimidating name in the sport is now becoming a target for ridicule. While Jon stays active on social media, cracking jokes, calling out Francis Ngannou, and shifting blame toward the UFC, there's still no clear indication of when, or even if, he plans to defend his heavyweight title.
And that he's ducking Tom Aspinall and stuff like that. He said, I spoke to the UFC a long time ago about what my future plans are. I haven't really worked out since my last fight in New York City. Honestly, I believe it's in the UFC's best interest to keep presenting me as the company's champion, not Tom. And then he goes on to say, I've just been playing the role of the company man by doing nothing at all and holding all the position. And truthfully, it's been incredibly lucrative. I've made more money off of Tom being the interim champ than Tom has himself. It sucks to see the rest of the division get slowed down like this, but that has nothing to do with me. I don't pull the strings. Well, it does have everything to do with you, Jon. You are the champion and you're the guy that should fight, that should defend or vacate.
Tom says, I will not be fighting Jon Jones. You would know that he is retired.
I'm the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world.
Tom comes out and says that he is the undisputed champion. There was one tell later in the interview. I said, all right, Tom, let's say you're a matchmaker and you have to match up Ciryl Gane. Do you think that Ciryl should fight for a championship? There's 2 of them out there right now. And this was the most interesting part of the interview for me. And all I'm doing is trying to play poker with Tom. I'm just looking for a tell. And he said, no, I don't think he should be fighting for a title next. He emphasized think, which left a massive impression on Daniel and I that Tom is fighting Ciryl next, but that Tom doesn't agree with that booking, that it should have gone to somebody other than Ciryl.
On the other hand, Tom Aspinall remains in a holding pattern. Despite stepping up to rescue a UFC event and decisively beating a top contender to earn the interim title, he's been left in the dark, with no clear answers, no updates, and nothing but continued delays.
This is the only sport in the world you can have somebody hold your career back.
Yep. I've been almost a year inactive with no prospects of anything. Just be ready, and we'll just let you know.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of difficult, like mentally, to.
Oh yeah.
This is the fight against Jon Jones. Like, not the fight is another thing.
Yeah.
This is the tricky bit where I really have to stay switched on, stay motivated, and. I'm trying my best. I'm trying. It's tough. As you said a minute ago, no one really knows what's going on behind the scenes apart from me.
Exactly. You're in office cooking.
I train all the time anyway. Just because I've not got a fight doesn't mean I don't train. Like, I honestly can see Jon's point of view. I get it.
Yep.
I get it. it's just about the title for me.
Yep.
I just want the title, that's it.
Yep.
Nothing else really matters. So
You're like, let me do my thing. Let me fight.
I just want to fight.
And I think that's the respectful way to go about it. It's like, you don't care if it's Jon, and it's no disrespect to Jon, it's no disrespect to anybody out there. You're just trying to fight. Yep. I just want to fight.
Yep.
The UFC is about one guy being the champion of each division. I defended the interim once already. It's almost unheard of that. It's unprecedented. I thought it was silly the first time, to be honest. The reason that I did it, the first time I fought Curtis Blades, it went down as a loss. I got injured. Worst moment of my career, one of the worst moments of my life. I wanted to redeem myself and get the legit victory against Curtis Blades because it was unfinished business. Like, that was hurting my ego, and I wanted to prove that I was better than Blades, which I did in the rematch, and I defended the interim. Something else, that particular fight was in Manchester, in my hometown. I wanted to fight in my hometown. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to do that again in front of a sold-out, brand new Co-op Live arena in Manchester, England. I don't know if I'm ever going to have the opportunity to do that again. So for them two reasons, that's why I defended the interim. I'm not doing it again. Like, I've cleared out the rest of the division, undisputed, and that's it. I deserve a shot at being known as the best heavyweight walking around on planet Earth. It doesn't matter on the opponent, undisputed now.
Stupid. I have no idea the reason why the UFC don't really want Tom to fight anybody else other than Jon Jones. And, you know, they're saying, stay tuned. That's the message they wanted Tom to give out to people. And we had the meeting with Hunter. And they're going to try and fix the fight with Jon Jones, but we're still in April now. Still waiting for this guy to say, I'll have a fight or I'll not have a fight. And I don't really understand that. He's a fighter who should be having fights. Why is he just still sat around not giving an answer as to whether he's going to fight or not? Tom's done all he can do. You know, he's fought in the middle of the night to defend an interim. He fought for an interim because the fight was on for him to do an interim and he couldn't turn it down. And he won that. What else can he do?
The spotlight on Jon Jones continues, but for all the wrong reasons. Instead of fight news, headlines focus on his absence from the cage. And it's not just the fans expressing frustration anymore. Media outlets, fighters, former champions, and prominent voices like Ariel Helwani are all beginning to call him out.
If you're not going to fight Tom Aspinall, just retire, mate, because he's been holding up the heavyweight division for the longest time, not just with inactivity, but also ridiculous, wasteful, pointless fights like that Stipe Miocic fight. And the UFC desperately needs stars right now, when we've got one in Tom Aspinall, but we're not doing anything with him. He's not being allowed to fly the way he should do because this guy's ego won't allow it. You say he doesn't want to retire, even though he's got an interim champion that he should be dealing with if he wants to remain champion. He's like, Lord, just strip me. I'll still fight anyway. He clearly wants to carry on fighting, in my opinion. He just doesn't want to fight the most dangerous, threatening man for him in the UFC. And the way he's going about avoiding that fight and the way he's speaking right now, it's so disrespectful, not only to the UFC, but to every single fan he's got left.
Like I said, I think we've been on top of the story from the beginning. And what did I say to all of you? What was it? 2 months ago now? 3 months ago? They got him the money. I'm not even going to call it fuck you money because as I've said from the beginning, he always deserved millions upon millions of dollars. It's not fuck you money. It's what he's owed. It's what he's worked to achieve. But, you know, there was a back and forth. They got him that money. They finally got him that money. And he said yes. And then he said no. And since he said no, they've been trying to figure out a way to get him to do this fight. One last fight. He ain't budging. And he's been starting to give us some sort of indication, hints, that he is not interested. But right before 316, he gave us many indications. And when I say not interested, I don't mean not interested in fighting. I mean not interested in fighting Tom Aspinall specifically. The move that they should do, though, the UFC, is Francis versus Aspinall. That's the one thing that will soften this blow if it doesn't come to fruition. People will lose their minds. If it ends up being Aspinall versus Gunn, it's going to be a little deflating. But that's the best way to get back at Jon here. You held us up. You made a mockery of our title. There is nothing, Chael said it on the show last week, there is nothing the brass hates more than someone who vacates the belt when they're on top. Look at how they reacted to Henry, to GSP.
Cyril Gane is maybe next opponent for you?
Well, he can fight Almeida first because he refused the fight with me. So now, before he jumps back in and waits for a shot, he can fight Almeida. Them guys can fight, and the winner can fight me.
Cyril tweeted that he thinks you should be careful what you wish for, and he'll see you in Paris. How do you think you match up against Cyril?
I better be careful, apparently. Yeah. I think I match up pretty well against him. I think I'm equally as fast as him. I move equally as well. The difference is I can grapple. I've got a lot of power. And I think that's pretty undeniable at this stage of my career. I've got a lot of knockouts on my record, mate. I have to touch you once, and I wasn't even throwing heavy tonight. I thought it was going to be a 5-rounder. I didn't mean to knock him out. I was pretty sure that was going to be a 5-round fight tonight, and just takes one shot, mate, at heavyweight, especially with me throwing him.
Tom Aspinall's the guy. He's the guy.
Dana White says I'm his man. We love that. We love that on the channel.
And what about Francis Ngannou? You having him? You want some?
The day that I start ducking out of fights and turning opponents down and stuff like that is the day that I'm going to retire. So, as I've always said, and you can ask any promoter I've ever worked with, any guys at the UFC, I'll fight anyone, I'll fight anytime, and I'll fight anywhere. Never turn down a fight in my life. Never will. The day that I start thinking about turning down fights is the day that I'll retire. So to answer the question, whoever they want me to fight is who I'm going to fight.
This isn't the behavior expected from a champion, let alone someone often called the greatest of all time. It's not what the UFC heavyweight division deserves either. Rather than stepping up, Jon Jones seems to be stalling. Instead of facing Tom Aspinall directly, he's sidestepping the conversation. He's joking about vacating the title, hinting at matchups that never materialize, and sharing photos from Thailand. Meanwhile, Dana White is left to field the questions, without any solid answers or real ability to push things forward.
It's a conversation we've had many times now, the Tom Aspinall-Jon Jones fight. It's a bit different now, right? Because Jon's been tweeting a lot about the fact that he's told you his plans, he's ready to vacate the belt, and all the rest of it.
He said he's ready to vacate the belt?
He said he doesn't care if you strip him, he would vacate it.
Crazy. Yeah, I've been busy. I haven't been keeping up with the gossip. He comes back. He's either back today or came back yesterday or whatever. He's in Thailand. So he's home. We'll be home tonight, Tuesday. We'll figure this out.
But if he doesn't fight Tom Aspinall and he does walk away, do you think he's ducked him?
Tom Aspinall's the guy. He's the guy. Listen, if the guy wants to retire and doesn't want to fight, nothing you do. I didn't want Habib to retire. I thought DC should have stayed in it longer. So it's none of my business. I'll do what I can to make the fight if we can. If he's talking that crazy, I didn't realize that.
It was kind of crazy how much interest Jon showed in the Francis Ngannou fight. Like there was some tweets going back and forth. What would happen if he came to you and says like, I'll fight, but I won't fight Aspinall, I would fight Ngannou? Would you even be interested in that or no?
I don't have Ngannou on their contract. Yeah, Aspinall's the guy.
If you were put in the position, would you maybe try to get Ngannou back in their contract or no?
Probably not. Jon agreed to fight Tom?
No, you just said that. Before on the last thing you said.
Jon agreed to fight Tom, yes.
So you have to fight Tom.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you guys have heard me for the last however long. I said, I guarantee you this fight's going to happen. This fight's going to happen. Fight's going to happen. You guys told me the crazy shit that was going on Instagram and all these other places. But yes, I've been saying Jon is going to fight Tom.
So some rumors out there, guys like office and there's up to money and you put it down.
Unless you hear it come from here, or we put out a press release, don't believe any of this bullshit. But yes, Jon agreed to fight. Fact.
That's exactly why frustration is growing throughout the MMA community. Some fans argue that Jon Jones is simply preserving his legacy, that he doesn't need to fight Tom Aspinall, owes nothing to the division, and should be free to exit on his own terms. But a growing number of voices are pushing back, suggesting it's not about legacy, it's about fear. They believe Aspinall might be too quick, too powerful, too composed, and too motivated for a version of Jones who may no longer be at his peak.
gain idea. He was the one who delayed and delayed and delayed till Francis was out the fucking door. He could have fought Francis a long time ago. If he'd just taken the chance of going up to heavyweight earlier, we could have had him versus a prime Cain Velasquez. Cain Velasquez was 240. Jon Jones is 260, 265. And you're telling me Cain Velasquez was too big for him? What a load of shit. Stipe Miocic could have fought him in his prime, another one who was no bigger than Jon Jones. So when he's giving it the big and being like, oh, well, people always think someone's going to come and dethrone me. And yeah, I get the narrative. That was the way at light heavyweight. There was always that next guy coming up. But you ain't never fought an animal like Tom Aspinall, who is as quick on his feet, who has the speed that he does at 260 pounds, who has the heavy hands that he does. You have never been in there with a beast like that. It's just not happened. I'm not saying that means Aspinall wins, but for people to do the Tyson Fury thing of going, oh, well, he's always won, so therefore he always will win.
Let's be real. The pressure is mounting quickly. If the UFC decides to strip Jon Jones of the title, it would send a clear message. No one, not even the so-called GOAT, is above the championship. But if they choose not to act, it sets a dangerous precedent, implying that title defenses are optional, delays are acceptable, and one fighter's legacy can put the entire division on hold.
When you're an interim champion, they only make an interim champion when the champion cannot defend the belt. So for Jon Jones, he couldn't defend the belt because he tore his pec muscle. So the interim champion means he should be fighting the champion right off the bat. That's not the case with Jon Jones, right? Because Jon Jones is going to fight Stipe Miocic. So the interim champion is supposed to sit there and wait. But by law, in like the regulations, once Jon Jones steps in the cage, he is stripped of his interim champion because the champion has returned. There is no longer for interim champion. What is the point of having an interim champion when the champion is ready to fight?
Tom Aspinall hasn't spoken much recently, but his quietness speaks volumes. He's not out there chasing attention or making noise. He's focused on training and letting his performance speak for itself.
Nah, man, Jon's retired. What are we talking about, guys? Jon, you guys don't follow Jon on social media?
I don't follow him on social media. He said that...
No, me too, actually. Me too, but the guy is living his best life. He's had a fantastic career, we all know. We know Jon's a religious man, so I want to say God bless him moving forward in what he does with his life and his career. And, you know, we move on. We move on. I'm the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. I'm ready to take on all comers, get this division moving again. Us guys have been waiting around too long. You know, the contenders are getting sick of it. Everybody's getting sick of it. Even the fans are getting sick of this stuff. So Jon's retired and it's time that we move on.
So the question now is straightforward. Will Jon Jones finally step up to face Tom Aspinall? Will the UFC take decisive action and regain control? Or will Jones continue to undermine both the promotion and his own legacy? The clock is ticking and everyone is watching.